Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Coburn, and today's episode is Fantasy Football Metric Matchups. That's right, Fantasy Football. I've not done a ton of Fantasy Football videos on the show, but I figured this would be a good sort of introductory video just to try it out, try out some Fantasy Football topics. Because, as you know, I'm mostly data focused. I mostly watch college football and do the NFL stuff as well. But I don't do a lot of fantasy football stuff, even though there's stuff to unlock. And that's why I wanted to do this video, is because there is ways to use data, to use metrics, to find favorable matchups and exploit some of those matchups. And I figured that what this segment will boil down to each week, and I hope to turn this into a weekly segment, is to pick one game and one prospect from that game, one player from that game who has a very favorable matchup, and is also somebody who's kind of an obscure player, like a waiver wire guy, or somebody that is just hanging out, and just ready to be picked up and put up points. So I figured this would be a good week to do this, and the player this week that I wanted to highlight is Malcolm Mitchell of the New England Patriots. Now, in this matchup in particular, and this is actually the matchups right here when it comes to New England's offense versus Kansas City's defense when it comes to athleticism data. And the big standout to me here is one, Brandon Cooks, because he's Brandon Cooks. He's going to get his targets. He's going to get his looks. But he's also playing Marcus Peters. And as much as Brandon Cooks may have an advantage with speed and flexibility, Peters is more explosive than him. Peters does a lot of things when it comes to press, being physical, things like that, which can kind of dampen Cooks a bit, because Cooks is very much a space type of wide receiver. And the other bottom line is that you have this really great matchup with Malcolm Mitchell versus Terrence Mitchell. That's right, Terrence Mitchell. So it's a Mitchell. I don't think they're related, but it's a Mitchell matchup. And the reason why I think this is a great matchup is because, one, Malcolm Mitchell, when you look at the data, when you look at Malcolm Mitchell compared to Terrence Mitchell, there's a big disparity data-wise. Mitchell is more explosive, he is faster, and he has much more length. It's a situation that's very similar to what Malcolm had last year against E.J. Gaines, against the Rams last year, where Malcolm had his most target. He had 10 targets in that game and 8 receptions last year against the Rams. And this is actually E.J. Gaines versus Malcolm Mitchell. And though Terrence Mitchell is a little bit more flexible than E.J. Gaines, it's a very similar matchup when it comes down to length, explosiveness, and speed. So I think this is a very good matchup to where Malcolm Mitchell could get similar targets in this game because of this particular matchup. If this is what ends up happening, if Terrence Mitchell and Malcolm Mitchell square up against each other, I think this goes into Malcolm Mitchell's favor, on top of the fact that, if you're Tom Brady, if you're 40 years old and you're Tom Brady, are you going to want to challenge Marcus Peters, who's arguably been one of the most turnover-heavy cornerbacks in the NFL? Like, Marcus Peters is very good at interceptions. He's very good at turning the football over. He's very good at causing pass deflections and causing dead plays. Do you really want to target that guy, or do you want to target Terrence Mitchell, who doesn't really have much length, who is slow, not very explosive, and, oh, by the way, Malcolm Mitchell is over here. So I think that this would be a good sort of I think this is the matchup in this game. Sure, Cooks will line up in the slot. Like like I said before, Cooks is going to get his looks. Cooks is going to get his targets. He's going to get all that stuff. But at the same time, I think Malcolm Mitchell against Terrence Mitchell is a very underrated matchup this week. I think that, if you are a team looking for a wide receiver to start this week, if you have a flex situation that's kind of iffy, if you have an unexpected injury, if somebody, God forbid, gets injured, which hopefully does. I mean, you'd have to start Malcolm Mitchell right away. But yeah, I mean, if you're in a situation where your wide receivers are kind of You don't really know who to start this week. One of your really good wide receivers or okay wide receiver has kind of a tough matchup this week. I suggest you start Mitchell this week. I think the best matchup for the Patriots offense this week, other than Rob Gronkowski, I think is Malcolm Mitchell. So that is my pick this week. And again, of course, my name is James Coburn. You can find my other work at draftcoburn.wordpress.com or on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content and you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Share this video as well with anybody that you know, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.